I'm home.
Welcome to Something Crunchy. Tyler is homies with Blake. Blake is the older bro of Blair. Blair is married to Tyler, and is a slutty slut.
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
What the hell is crunchy?
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
Welcome to another special edition episode of Something Crunchy. I'm Cullen Blake. With me as always, Blair and Tyler Dressel. We have another very crunchy guest on with us, ending the season strong. He's a talented screen actor, stage actor, and voice actor. You know him from movies like Fatal Attraction, Arachnophobia, and The Artist, and he famously voiced Earl Sinclair in Dinosaurs. Please welcome Stuart Pankin.
Hey! Please sit down. Sit down, everybody. Sit down.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Pankin. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm good, considering it's a pandemic, but I'm fine.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it is a treat and an honor to have you on. We're big fans. How was your
Thank
2022 treating you so far?
So far, it's okay. It's probably like everybody else. I mean, we're anxious to get new masks and get rid of Omicron. Mask up and get out.
I know.
Yes.
No public engagements, autograph signings, or golf even, which podcasts like us couldn't be more appreciative of.
They've canceled a few of those public things, which is fine. I mean, we don't even go out to see friends a lot anymore. We're just a little, standoffish.
Yeah. Well, how are you spending your free time?
Well, believe it or not, I'm swimming a lot. I'm going to the gym a bunch of times each week, and trying to get rid of those COVID-19, as they say.
The freshman COVID-19.
The freshman COVID-19.
I have like a COVID-25.
And I'm talking to guys like you, which is a pleasure.
Yes, it's a pleasure for us.
Yes.
Are you eager to
Cool.
get back on the golf course?
No. I haven't played golf in a while, so that's it used to be so much of a passion that it was, I used to get night sweats thinking about playing the next day. But no, the older you get, I'm a lot less sweaty and I sleep a lot better.
Does sound nice.
Tyler here has a big golf background, was a coach for a long time. He's the guy that when you're out there, he'll help you correct your swing, continue on the right
Yeah, we
path.
get you straightened out if you need it.
Well, I think that train has passed, but no, in the golf days talking to golf, I subscribed to every golf magazine there was. I watched every tournament there was. We used to play, my buddies and me, we used to play, 3, sometimes 4 times a week. Yeah, I mean, I was obsessed with the game. My wife said, "Get involved with golf," and then she was very sorry that I did. I never saw her.
The hardest game ever created.
Well, maybe, but I never will ever get good at it. My friend, who's played for 60 years, and I play with him all the time. I mean, he tried to help me, and other friends have tried to help me, and. There's some talents that you have. Golf ain't one of them.
That's true. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I'll say I'm with you.
I enjoy it. I love to play, but I'll never be a great golfer.
Yeah, I'm coming with you.
No.
That's okay.
But,
I bet you at least have some great stories on the links, and I know that you have played with some interesting people. Do any of them, O.J. Simpson, stand out?
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. We used to see O.J. at the public courses, a bunch of times, and guys I used to say to them, or people used to say to us, "Would you play with O.J. if he needed a fourth? Would you play with him?" And all the guys, my friends, said, "No." I said, "Absolutely."
yeah.
Why not?
How could you not? As long as he's not going to kill me, how could you not? Spend 4 or 5 hours with this notorious person. You got to do it. So yeah, but that's and on some of these in the old days when I was spry and limber, I used to play a lot of celebrity golf tournaments, and of course you get to see a lot of. You didn't play with them, but you got to see a lot of really nice. Famous people. I've always been starstruck, and will continue to be starstruck. I love to see celebrities, and it was fun to do that. Besides, they feed you pretty good.
Yes.
But that's but mostly we just played my friends and I just played, the local public courses and loved it.
It's hard to imagine a star getting starstruck. So who was the name that did it for you? The one that you saw on the golf course and was like, oh, wow, this is unreal.
Well, it's not necessarily on the golf course. I mean, the first thing I did out here was a series called the San Pedro Beach Bums at Fox. And we used to eat in the commissary all the time. And I used to fight, the cast when we ate to get this chair facing the door so I could see, all the celebrities or whatever celebrities came in to eat, because I just loved it. I mean, I don't need to mention celebrities, but there's, I just like actors. If I ever see a character actor on the street, or when we used to be able to be on the street, I always make it a point to go over and say how much I enjoyed their work, and because a lot of these guys and women are not recognizable, and I think that they're pleased that somebody would recognize their skills and their contribution to the business.
Of course. And Golf with the Juice, that is incredible. Lots of jokes coming. We better move on. Tell us a little bit about the Pico Poker Club. This is another fun extracurricular activity that you have going on.
Stuff.
Yeah, well, the Pico Poker Club was started by my friend Bob Stewart, who is a game show maven genius. He created, Password and $20,000 pyramid, $100,000 pyramid. To tell the truth, he's just a legend in the Game Show Hall of Fame legend, or Television Academy Hall of Fame. But he had that, for years ago, even before I joined. Just a bunch of his friends and game show guys and actors got together to play, and I joined. I'm guessing 25 years ago, maybe more. And once a month you get together with these wonderful people, most of whom nobody would know because they're producers and actors, with the exception of Betty White. Betty White was the regular in the Pico Poker game, and just you talking about starstruck. I mean,
she's amazing.
Till the day she died, or till the last time we played together, it was just you look at her and you think this is wow. I mean, there's no words to describe her career, her smarts, her funniness, her risqueness. She's a great lady. And it was one of the benefits of. I mean, we played for dimes, literally dimes, and every time the game was over, she always said, "Oh no," because she loved it. I mean, she absolutely loved it. Before I joined it, she had a bunch of the Pico Poker people up to her home in Carmel, and she's written about the Pico Poker Club in some of her books. So the Pico Poker Club was just you go down. And there's 5 or 6 of us, and you have lunch, and you chit-chat, and you laugh, and then you play this dime poker game, these silly games. And you go home, and you just look forward to the next one.
It sounds like the best time ever.
Yeah, that really is amazing. I think there isn't a person on the planet that isn't jealous of you being able to be a part of that poker game. That is so cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory of the iconic Miss Betty White? You guys worked together a few times as well, right?
Yeah, we did. Did a game show together, and I did a Golden Girls.
Yes.
Whoa. Wow. I mean, she. There's not a particular memory. Everything people say about Betty White is true. I mean, she's the kindest and sweetest and funniest. I mean, we actually made each other laugh, and for me to make Betty White laugh was a great, it was a feather in my cap. But she's just, and she's smart. She was one of the, she started producing her own shows in television in the 50s. She was one of the pioneers of the industry, and just, nobody has ever. They say, in the media, it's interesting that somebody lives to be 99, and everybody in the world is saying it's not enough.
It's true.
Yeah. And that's the truth. So she, just hanging around her was just, it was great. And like I said before, starstruck. My God, top of the bunch.
No kidding. That is amazing. Before we move on, are you a part of any other celebrity secret societies we should know about?
Yeah, what else are you involved with?
Well, strangely enough, there was a poker game once a week, and I played a lot, but not once a week. That you sat around the table. It was a celebrity poker game. I won't mention the guy who ran it. It's not being done anymore because it's just that nobody would know him. But I sat across the table from the likes of, oh my God, I mean, Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, Jerry Vale, Mel Torme, Rod Steiger. I mean, and younger, Richard Lewis, some of the younger actors that I can't remember, but for years, just going to that game, Hal Linden, George, I forget. I see that when you get to be my age, you can remember the cards, but you can't remember the names. George Stiegel and Elliot Gould, and I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you just spend 5 hours sitting around the table with these guys. Poker was almost secondary to the stories and the jokes that they would tell. So that was
of course. I can't even imagine.
That's what the experience is about.
That's great. Did you guys play Hold'em, all kinds of flavors of poker?
The host played one game. It was 7-card stud. That was it. 7-card stud. Occasionally we talked him into 5-card stud, but mostly it was 7-card stud. That's it.
Wow.
Winner take all.
Well, you've done a few of these now, and your fans are very grateful. In almost all of them, you get asked about the same handful of projects. We won't be any different. But before we get into those fan favorites, are there any roles of yours you wish would get discussed more in these interviews? Like, which project is most underrated and underappreciated in your mind?
Well, that's an interesting question. Most of the stuff that I've done that, to be honest with you, I'm most proud of is on stage. I mean, I have a theater background, and that's the roles, because theater material, to be honest with you, is often a lot denser, a lot richer, a lot more complicated than some of the stuff that is produced in Hollywood. I mean, sure. Fatal Attraction is certainly one of my, that's something that one of the things I'm most pleased about as far as movies. But as far as other stuff, it's mostly the stage stuff that I would, that nobody's going to know me from, but those are the things that I'm most, those plays are, I've done over 80 of them, and I'm most proud of many of them.
Wow.
Not all of them. Some of them sucked, but,
That's such a fun time.
Yeah, that's a different breed of acting there. There's no second chances when you're on stage.
That's live, baby.
Well, it is live, and there is no second chance. But the nice thing is, you get another chance the next night.
Another day.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a
For
wonderful
a
actor. There's an actress named Zoe Caldwell who came when I was at Columbia, at the graduate program. She came to talk to us, and she won an Academy Award. I don't remember the play. Let's, just call it X. She won an Academy Award for X. And the last performance, she had won the award. The last performance of that play, she came off stage after the curtain call and said to the stage manager, "I finally figured out how to play that scene." So that's the magic of theater. You know what I'm saying? That's the magic of theater. In film, you get a chance to do it again, but I don't know if there's any actor in the world that looks at any performance and says, "Ooh, I wish I'd done that differently," or "Ooh, I wish I'd made a different choice."
Yeah,
sure.
And that's in stone. That you can't change.
Well, you probably knew this was coming. Let's talk about Dinosaurs.
What?
Dinosaurs has gotten a resurgence as it is now available to stream on Disney+. You voiced the patriarch Earl Sinclair, 65 episodes. All right, so the most expensive show to date is Game of Thrones. Most expensive sitcom, Dinosaurs.
Do you know that for a fact, or did you hear me say that one?
No, I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it is a fact. It's interesting.
That is
it's
crazy.
A really interesting fact.
Very, very interesting. Is this why they suffered an extinction event after just 3 years?
Yes, I wasn't in the room, so that I don't know when they got the letter that said, there's the show is ending, and they give them an opportunity to write some sort of finale. But yes, that's one of the reasons. The cost of that show was certainly one of the reasons that I don't know what the ratings were. I really don't, but it was one of the reasons that they stopped it. Because it just cost a lot. I mean, the animatronics, the puppets, the maintaining of those puppets, not to mention the salaries of, the actors and the crew. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That the money was a factor in the cancellation of that show.
Wow. I know you were the voice actor, and it was someone else in the Earl suit. So which came first, the filming or the voiceovers?
the filming came first. The Henson puppeteers usually do their own puppetry and do the voices of the characters. This was not the case with Dinosaurs. So what they did was they filmed the script with the guy inside, Bill Beretta, who is now one of the top producers in the Henson Company. Nice guy, great guy, and Mac Wilson, I think his name was, who was a little English guy, talk like this, and he voiced Earl. So it was easy, for them not to have the dinosaur. No, talk like this, you don't need to talk. So Mac did the voice, and I heard it, and then we went into the studio, and I heard, I'm making it up, of course, oh, look, there's a dinosaur pushing a tree down. And I had to go, hey, look, there's a dinosaur pushing a tree down. So I had to replace his voice. And that's the way the show worked for every character.
Wow.
Every character had a Henson puppeteer doing the movements and the voices. It took about 3 people to control a dinosaur character. The eyes, and the mouth movements, the animatronics, Bill inside, the actor inside, and then the voice actor. So, yeah.
So that left no room for improv. You couldn't even really say it in a different way. You just had to use your voice over what was said. Is that right? That's an interesting point. I mean, that was one of the drawbacks, because you had to speak in the rhythm of the actor and the voice and the mouth that's moving. You could not change that. You try to do a little bit different readings occasionally. And actually, Bill said, his when he heard after a few shows what I was doing with the character, he actually and the animatronic guy changed some of the movements to accommodate some of the rhythms that they heard. So it was kind of a collaborative effort. But in general, no, you had to stick with the rhythm of the mouth, with the movements of the mouth. Wow. Well, yeah, that had to have helped. Well, you have done just a ton on screen, obviously very recognizable, but your voice certainly is too. Have you ever been recognized ordering a pizza or something, or better yet, intentionally mess with someone the way I would have?
Well, that's interesting. Years ago, we were in a restaurant, a kind of a noisy restaurant, my wife and I, and this was Dinosaurs, I guess, obviously, had been playing for a while. And we're sitting there talking and eating, and a guy comes up and says, "Are you the voice of the Earl Sinclair and Dinosaurs?" I said, yes, how? Because how did you get that? Because I don't talk like this all the time. He said, I'm a sound guy. And for some reason, I heard those your voice and the tones of your voice, and I kind of thought that you were the guy. So that was the most amazing voice recognition. I don't think anybody else has done that. That was astounding to me.
I would be that person who would be sitting next to you at a restaurant and overheard your voice, and be like, I would have known I watched Dinosaurs so much, I would have known that voice in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I believe
that.
Yes.
I believe
that's
that.
Cool. That's great.
I could back her on that.
I would never call her a liar in public.
Not to her face.
After Dinosaurs, would you say Arachnophobia is your most talked about role?
No. I would guess Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction
was the most talked, because that became such an iconic movie that and Arachnophobia. I love Arachnophobia. I think Arachnophobia is a terrific, Halloween horror movie. And they played it, but Fatal Attraction was the one that people. Dinosaurs is first. You're absolutely right. People during the pandemic, and I'm not bragging about myself because it's the show, because you said it's on Disney Plus and everybody's watching it. During the pandemic, I was getting, and maybe other actors were getting, 2 to 4 autograph requests a day.
Wow. For
weeks and weeks to sign those little Funko boxes, or whatever you call them, Funko boxes. Where they had the fig, and like I said, I'm not bragging. Oh, yes, I am. I'm bragging.
I mean, go for it.
Yeah.
But it's the show. I mean, once the show was released on Disney Plus, people were singing, and I guess they became enamored with it, which is great. I mean, look, I don't get any money anymore, but I'm glad that it's out there. But yeah, Fatal Attraction after Dinosaurs. And I'm recognized a lot, not in L.A. when I used to be able to go to the East to visit family. Some of the Disney stuff I've done, the young people and teenagers would recognize me for that.
Xenon?
What? Xenon? Yeah.
Yes, I was heavy into my Disney Channel phase and was always watching Xenon.
Yeah, I guess you're not alone. I'm still friends with one of the actors in Xenon and the writer of the Xenon series, Stu Krieger. So so that's always been kept alive in my life over the years.
Yes.
What range you have.
It really, though.
And we love Fatal Attraction, and we love Arachnophobia. We love this movie so much. Still quote it regularly. I also believe that's one of the greatest movie titles of all time as well. That doesn't get mentioned enough.
Agreed.
Totally.
That. I remember wondering if these were real spiders or not until I actually saw CGI spiders in 90s movies. These were real. You were working with
they were
very real, very expensive spiders. Have you recovered?
What? Really?
You've done your research. Yeah, those were New Zealand spiders. I think, if I remember, they cost about $1,100 a piece.
Wow!
To get them over there, and they used a lot of them. They controlled them by hair dryers. They released them, and then they put air on them and to control them as to where they went. As a matter of fact, there was one day that we had to go. Everybody had to meet on the set and have them crawl on us, so that all of a sudden you turn around and there's a spider and you go, ah, there's $1,100 down there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hope you got hazardous duty pay for that.
No, well, all spiders, as I learned, are venomous, but you gotta really piss them off, if I can say that, to have them bite you. I mean, they're not going to bite you unless you attack them. John Goodman was a cocky son of a gun. He was letting them crawl all over him, his arm, his neck, his face.
Yeah, not me. That is amazing and such a fun fact to know that they were controlled with
hair dryers?
Hair dryers to get them to move in the direction. That is so cool.
And that they were real. Like, oh my God.
No, they were except for the big bad spider at the end was not real.
Yeah, I was like, you tell me that queen was real.
That wasn't CGI though, right? That was like a animatronic remote control.
Yes. It wasn't CGI. No, it was. They built that big puppy.
Wow. Well, that's cool to know.
Some of the little spiders, I think, that you might have seen in long shots crawling up and down the walls, that might have been CGI. But the spiders that on the table or in the cereal box or crawling around, they're real. They were real.
My God.
Wow. So, how do you handle a spider inside your home these days? Do you throw out a Goodman quote before you step on it?
It's dead. My wife is very susceptible to spider bites, and she actually years ago ended up in a hospital on an IV because of spider bites. So spiders don't live in our house.
Yeah, no,
I'm not one of those guys that connect them under a glass and put them gently in the air. Dead. They're dead.
So you didn't become more sympathetic and understanding toward the spider. It's still a bug in the house.
I don't. No. I'm not crazy about spiders, but they're really interesting creatures. I mean, I'm just talking about ones in the house. I mean, you turn on the light and they sort of. They know you're there, and they sort of hide for what they think is hiding. And then if you go for them, they're very. I think they're smarter than we give them credit for. I think they're going to take over the world.
Oh my God! Don't.
So if any spiders are listening, are listening to this, I'm lying. I never killed a spider in my life, so don't come and get
for all those listening.
Tyler here. I'm eager to ask you about the Dirt Bike Kid.
Yeah, that was good too.
That was good too.
What turned you on to this project, and did you have any idea it would become a cult classic and we'd still be talking about it 30 years later?
No, I'm thrilled that we are. The director, one of the directors, and not necessarily new, Hoyt Caston, was offered the job to direct the Dirt Bike Kid. Julie Corman, Roger Corman, Julie Corman, her company, and they cast me. And Annie Bloom and Danny Breen, we were all on, not necessarily the news. So that's how that happened for us. And we all went down to Texas and did this for, I don't know, a month, 5 weeks. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I'm very happy that kids are still enjoying it. It's always good to work, but it's better to work with friends. And we had a wonderful time down there. Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's It's not threatening. You know, no animals were killed in the making of this movie. It's a genuinely attractive young person's film.
Yeah, it's a good time flick.
It was definitely on heavy rotation in my house between that and Rad, the BMX movie. I couldn't get enough of the both.
Oh, cool. Oh, because of the dirt bikes?
Yeah, just the bikes and
Yeah.
Peter Bellinger.
Yeah, well, that was interesting.
Great.
You know, it's one of those movie things where Peter Billingsley was a small guy, small kid, and they gave him a bike, and then when they had the stunt guy do it, they made a duplicate bike bigger, so that the stunt guy could get on it, and the perspective would be the same. So he did all the dangerous stuff.
Wow. We noticed that the other day.
Yes.
Did you?
Yes, we did. Saw that for the first time the other day, and that was a delight. That I did not see it like in the 80s, in 90s, like most. I saw it for the first time last week. And yes, and I did notice that too, because I was wondering, there were some scenes it's not Peter Billingsley on that bike.
Right.
And of course I'm looking at it at a very analytic point of view, and I'm noticing the stunt double, but it wasn't so apparently obvious like it is in other movies. I was kind of wondering why that is. That answers that question. Very interesting.
I didn't notice it in the 80s. I just noticed it last week at 40 years old, and I was like, hey, that guy looks like he's 24. How did he get on the bike?
Well, there were movies and special effects that when I was a kid, for instance, you're maybe too young, but I love Flash Gordon.
Love it.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Yeah, and then there were these people called the Mud People, and I could have sworn that they literally came out of the mud on the walls of the cave. Then you see it, 30 years later, and you obviously see that they're, it's a special effect that they appear. But as a kid, I would have sworn
that was
that
exactly
those
what
creatures,
happened.
yeah, that actually happened. It actually came out of the. So you notice a lot of things when you're older that perhaps you don't notice in your kid. And something that's not bad. That's not bad that the magic of the movies, as they say, kind of could work on you when you're younger. And if you I still believe in Santa Claus, so it doesn't.
Sure.
Well, it's funny. We're all excited to talk to you about just like different roles, but I mean, I like my Stuart Pankin paired with the Rick of the Moranis variety. You starred with him in a couple movies together.
No, just one. Oh, two. That's right. Two.
Yes, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves and Big Bully. Is this just by coincidence?
Yes. It would be great to be able to say, no, Rick asked me to be in it. No, it was.
No?
It was a coincidence. But we did have. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. It was a fascinating time. First of all, he's great, and the four adults in the movie, and then the kids. I mean, Allison Mack, who later became sort of notorious for other stuff,
sure,
and all the other kids, Bug Hole, and Melissa. Oh wait, who the heck was it? I don't remember. Some young girl, dark-haired girl who is now famous. She was
Alyssa
in it.
Milano?
But Alyssa Milano, that's right.
Wow.
I think she was in it. Double check me on that, but
I'm
I
on
think
it.
she was in it. But she was, young. If it wasn't her, it was the other actress. I always get them mixed up. They look a lot alike.
She looks a lot
young.
like several actresses.
Right. But anyway, that was the special effects, the green screen, and the oversized props. Made, it was just a fun shoot. It was so nice to work with Rick Moranis because he's so generous, he's so funny, he's so gentle, and I think just before that or just after that, his wife died, and he spent, he got out of show business for a long time to take care of his kids, which I thought was just admirable.
He left when he was still working a lot.
Oh,
wow.
Sure. Yeah, but for him to drop out and to take care of his children after that terrible loss you just can't respect the guy enough. He's just great. We used to keep in touch occasionally, Christmas card stuff, and then I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I believe you were talking about Mila Kunis.
Yes.
Mila Kunis.
Yes.
Good call,
Mila
Blair.
Kunis was in Honey,
Wait a
We
minute,
Shrunk
but
Ourselves.
is she in Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves?
Yes, she played Jill.
That's the one, not Alyssa Milano.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mila Kunis.
Mila
wow.
Kunis, and she actually, I did a series called Nick Freno, Licensed Teacher, and she did a couple of guest spots in that. So it's like, oh yeah, I knew her when.
That's all right. So we're starting to get into some of your roles here. Let's make better use of your time. We have a game we like to play that serves us well when interviewing actors that have impressive filmographies like yours. Fans want to hear their favorite project mentioned, and we like to put out. If it's okay with you, we'd like to throw out just a couple more of some of our favorite roles of yours. All you need to provide back is one anecdote, one memory, a fun fact, even just the first thing you think of when I mention the title. Is that okay?
All right. Do your best.
Do your best. We got to start with HBO's Not Necessarily the News. And I know that's hard to sum up in a very short sentence or two because you were on that for many years.
Many. Well, one of the first images I had was great friends. I mean, we're still friends. The actors, Danny Breen, God bless him, passed away, years ago. But Mitch Lawrence, Annie Bloom, Danny, we stayed in touch and close, for years. So great friendships. That's the one thing that really pops in my head. Besides the terrific writing and the fun sketches and all that stuff. But friends, that's my one word answer to that.
That's awesome.
Perfect answer. Okay, Fatal Attraction, 1987, the big one. First thing you think of?
The first thing I think of is, it was a hard shoot. Adrian Lyne auditioned me, and he wanted me, and the producer said, why don't you get somebody from New York, because we're shooting in New York. And Adrian said, God bless his soul, no, I want Stuart Pankin. And because of that, I flew back and forth to New York because I was doing Not Necessarily the News at the same time.
Wow.
Once a week for a day or two to shoot for a month to do Fatal Attraction. So that's a big memory.
Yeah, the travel.
That's
a commute.
That kind of travel.
Wow.
And again, Michael Douglas and the other people in the show, mostly I work with him, great. People like to say, well, who's do you have a problem with any? I don't have problems with any actors, They're all happily, professional, nice, giving people.
Wow.
Well, that's nice to hear.
How about Congo, 1995?
Well, Congo came, I had done Arachnophobia. Frank Marshall directed that. And he was doing Congo, and he called and said, we need somebody who's known for comedy so that we know that we can laugh at some of this stuff. So will you come in and do a couple of scenes, or a scene, a couple of days? I said, sure. So that's how that happened. Working with Robert Zemeckis' wife, Blair, get on it, man. I don't remember her name, but she's a fairly successful actress in her own right. And we just did this scene to try to bring a little a comedy in it, so that the audience would have permission to laugh, even though we're talking about killer gorillas.
Yes.
And I appreciate Frank for doing that.
Yeah, killer gorillas, real gorillas or fake gorillas?
All right, I'm going to give you a pass on that one because
That was a joke.
I don't know you real well, but I'm not going to pursue that. I'm going to let you guess.
That's the correct answer.
That was a joke. All right, how about the Hollywood Nights, 1980?
Hollywood Nights, night shooting. It was shot. We did it for weeks and weeks, but it was all night shooting. That's the one. That's a big memory for that. And another memory I have from Hollywood Nights is I had to do a bit where I had jumped into a car back window, literally jumped it. That's when I was doing. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It wasn't moving, the car wasn't moving, but I said something silly, and I jumped in through the back window of the car. And on one take, I sort of missed, and I sort of fell out of the car window, and the car started to go. And my arm, apparently people said, was about to go under the wheel, and I guess I rolled out of the way, and 15 people were screaming and running towards me. So that's kind of a big memory.
Oh my God! You almost lost an arm, but
we saved the scene, but I lost the arm.
Yeah, the scene's great, but
that's it.
How about striptease?
Striptease. Now that's another one of those. I was doing Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, and I got striptease, and I remember finishing the last scene of Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, getting on a plane and going to Florida to start striptease. And well, let's talk about golf. There's an actor, wonderful actor named Paul Guilfoyle, who I became friendly with, and I just started playing golf, and all my free time I went out to the range and just hit these 2-cent golf balls just to keep going. And striptease was memorable because they took us all to strip clubs. So before the shoot, and I'd never been to a strip club. At least that's the public story. And and it was that was kind of interesting. So that's quite the memory.
Let's do one more. How about Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Well, that was again one of the most fun things you do, and it's a great job for an actor who doesn't like learning lines, because you don't learn lines. I mean, it's all improvised. Mm-hmm. And the main memory there is working with Larry and him coming in and saying they wouldn't give you the script, and they wouldn't even give you the breakdown of what the scene was about and what the movie was about. They were very possessive about that because they wanted it to be totally freshly improvised. So Larry would come in and you sit down and say, now this is what's going to happen in the scene. And he'd give you some parameters and he'd give you some points that have to be made. So you're talking and talking. He said, cut. No. Okay, that's good. Now, you got to get this in. You forgot to get that. Okay, so we do it again. Talk. Cut. All right, that's fine. But now let's just add this. So that's the way that went. For most of the show. And it was fun to just get your mind going, because you gotta listen hard, and you gotta think hard, and then you gotta talk fast.
So you've worked on a ton of different projects. I'm a big fan of camaraderie. Coming from the sports world and the military aspect of my life. What was your favorite project with the best camaraderie?
Well, there's a movie that nobody will ever see or ever hear about, directed by Lloyd Schwartz, who was the son of Sherwood Schwartz, who did Gilligan's Island and Brady Brides and all that stuff. It was called 1 Dozen. It was about a jury. So there were 12 of us in a room for the 2 or 3 weeks that we shot the thing. I've never had so much fun on a set. No, seriously. I mean, I've never had so much fun on a set. Look forward to going to work. George Weiner was in it, and Lauren Dreyfuss, Richard Dreyfuss's brother, and Beverly. There's David Graff. Remember David Graff, who died much too young? You'll look him up, Blair.
I'll have to look him up, yeah. Blair. We'll need to. Yeah. We'll need to.
But anyway, these people, we just. Teresa Ganzel was in it. We just had the most fun laughing and talking and doing this movie. So maybe that's a disappointment to you guys, but that's all. The most
that's awesome.
Fun.
I'm going to watch that movie now. Now that I know that.
Well,
if
you can find it, let me know. I mean, but it was shot on videotape. It was shot on videotape, and I remember that the last scene was a 15-minute one-shot scene. The guy with the camera just walked around the courtroom, the jury room, as we did the scene, and there was one shot. We almost got one done, and then Ted Lange, who was in it, came in. He had two lines at the very end, and he screwed them up, so we had to do it again. But that's fun. I mean, Ted he's great. I worked with Ted a bunch of times. But that's the memory of that movie, 1 Dozen. Was the camaraderie and that long scene that long shot at the end.
I love that it's a lesser known. The name one more time.
1 Dozen.
1 Dozen. Okay, good to know.
You should just be on the hunt for that. I'd be very curious to find out if you found it. If you can
I will reach out if I do and make sure that you have a copy.
No, I think I have a copy.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know. Well, then I'm going to reach out and ask for a copy.
I'm sorry. Who is this?
Okay. SomethingCrunchy@gmail.com.
Well, we're all sequestered still. We always like asking this. Have you seen anything good lately? Like, what is in your quarantine queue?
Well, I have. I'm a member of the Academy, so I'm on the Academy. They have a screening website with all the movies that are possibly nominated. So I've been watching a bunch of movies. Before that, mostly my wife and I like the English stuff. We're not Anglophiles, but we do like the BritBox, Acorn, Prime Video projects that they do, mostly procedurals. Like we're watching Jack Irish now, but there are tons. Forgive me. There's so many of them that are so enjoyable to us. that just go on BritBox or Acorn, and that's what we like. As far as movies, I don't know. I watched No Time to Die No Time to Die.
What did you think of that?
I enjoyed it. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was
entertaining.
I didn't think it held up to other Bond movies. I think it was a little lengthy and a lot more build up than substance there. I don't know. Maybe I had just really high expectations for it. And there was a couple cool scenes, but that one kind of let me down. And I like that you're into the Brit stuff. And you're far beyond like The Crown and Downton Abbey. You're past that. You're into like the real deal now.
Well, they're all real deals. I mean, The Crown and Downton Abbey are great. They're great. It's just that these, I mean, there are so many. Jack Irish, The Bench, Scott and Bailey. There's an awful lot of British procedural shows that we enjoy. But I enjoy, we enjoy. I mean, we saw King Richard. We enjoyed that.
Yeah,
we're going to see. We're going to have a movie night. We're going to have a movie night tomorrow with my son and his wife. We call it Garlic and Gucci. We're going to get garlic knots and Italian food and watch The House of Gucci.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yes.
That sounds like such a fun night. We've been dying to see that.
Next on
well,
my
come
list.
on over.
Love garlic knots. So like,
We'll
can we
Become
go?
a super spreader.
Yes.
Super spreader event. I am jealous. We are.
Yes.
That is next on our list. That should be very
Garlic
good.
and Gucci. Why didn't we think of that?
I know. So I heard that you are a horror and sci-fi movie fan. Is that right?
Yes. But just also remember, I'll let it be known, I watch a lot of crap.
We all do.
Yeah, everyone.
My favorite.
Especially during the pandemic, and I tend to like or watch things that are less tedious and trying for my small brain. I do like not necessarily horror, but science fiction. I do like good science fiction, and it's hard to find good science fiction sometimes.
Yes,
There's a lot of garbage science fiction out there, but when you find a good one, and I'm not just talking, Alien or because that's great and the other stuff. But there are things that I watch on Netflix because you can't go out anymore. That it just kills some time. I'm watching actually something now called Archive 81. It's on Netflix. It's on one of those pay things that I find very interesting. It's sort of a horror science fiction ghost thing.
Nice.
Ooh,
We needed the recommendation.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I've been watching things on TV like Yellow Jackets, some of the network stuff, and I like Big Sky. So this
Big
thing about
Sky.
Montana.
That's great. Yes, of course.
We're fans.
We've seen Big Sky. We had the opportunity to
Yeah, I
talk
like
to
that a
Dee Dee
lot.
Pfeiffer, and she stars on Big Sky. And who created that show? What can I think of his
I have
name?
no idea.
Yeah, he's married to Michelle Pfeiffer's. It's Michelle Pfeiffer's husband, David something. It'll come to me. Anyway,
David E. Kelly.
David E. Kelly. That's it. Thank you, Blair.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer is married to
David
E. Kelly. Yes, and
Right.
her.
And she was in Fatal Attraction. She was in Hollywood Nights too. That was one of her.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's right.
I actually saw her in a movie theater once years ago, and we passed each other. I said, "I loved you in Hollywood Nights," and she looked at me like, "How the hell what the hell? Yeah, I didn't know that."
Like that's the movie you recognize.
everything.
That's the movie that remembers.
We're doing the same thing. She didn't recognize you, like from the movie. Like
We didn't hang out a lot. We didn't have any scenes together.
I
But
see.
I certainly, she was gorgeous. So it's hard to take your eyes off her.
yeah, it is hard to take your eyes off.
Yes.
I'm still looking at her.
You have been such a pleasure to talk to, Mr. Pankin. I cannot thank you enough for coming on.
Absolutely.
I really hope
Oh,
we
you
get the
guys are
opportunity to
great.
talk again sometime. This was so great.
Anytime.
Oh.
Anytime. I got your phone number. I'll be pestering you all week.
Please do.
Pester.
Be over for dinner in Gucci later.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. I want a full review on Gucci.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Pankin.
guys. It was so much fun talking to you.
Thanks again. Very much appreciated. Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good stuff.
How fun was he?
So much fun. He was awesome.
He was awesome. And cool stories. Golfing with OJ. Poker with Betty White. Are you kidding me? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, Wow.
And just hearing his voice just really did. Like, I had a smile the whole time. He really has such like a distinct voice.
Oh, man. After he confirmed the OJ rumor about the golfing, it just took every ounce of willpower I had not to make a slice joke. Like, there's just
fight it.
There's a lot of overlap between golf.
Stop.
Did you help him with the slice? There was just a lot there. I resisted.
I'm proud of you.
Excellent willpower. Yeah. Needed that. That was, whoa. Good stuff. Strong into the season here. I'm excited for our finale next week.
Yes.
It's been a good one. Well, new dream car giveaway over at 8080. In addition to the 15% off you get for using code CRUNCHY, they're offering 5 times the entries right now, all for a brand new Ferrari 488 plus $60,000 in cash. And if you're not feeling that Ferrari 488, you can also choose a wide-body GTR plus 40 stacks instead. You do not want to miss out. Nor do you want to forget to check out SomethingCrunchy.com, where you'll find every episode, our links for social media, and the Almighty Crunch Store, where you'll find all kinds of crunchy gear showing that you are a proud citizen of Crunch Nation. Then there's the Something Crunchy Facebook group. Gets bigger and better by the day. We try to make you laugh for an hour a week. This group puts out 24/7, and for that, we thank you. This has been another episode of Something Crunchy, and as always, don't ever forget to live your crunchiest life.
And be crunchy to one another.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. Thank you for listening.
Hooray for Stuart.
Hooray for school.